If you look east tonight, after 8 p.m., you will be able to see the persecuting scorpion with its sting. The conspirators in the drama Shaka Zulu, they are currently plotting against him right now. The conspirators of Jesus, the conspirators against Osiris, they are plotting. This is that part of the drama when Judas betrays Jesus. This is the part of the drama when Samson succumbs to Delilah. Delilah in Hebrew means night, roughly translated, or dark. And of course representing the dark winter nights that we are now approaching. And of course again, Delilah is the scorpion. She is the scorpion that asks Samson, Samsun, where lies the secret of your power? Of which of course it's in the 7 locks, or the 7 food growing months of the year. The 7th month ended with the previous constellation Libra that we just exited. And so now we find ourselves firmly in the betrayal. The betrayal now in the human body. But before I get to the human body, to correlate it to the Lord's Prayer, we're dealing with the sexual organ. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Remember we said the kidneys are the scales. The kidneys, of course, is sunset, representing the judgment of the sun. And so we've gone past the scales now. We are approaching the coldest parts of our winter. We are headed towards the June winter solstice. And that is, of course, that is the execution of the sun, or the Samsun. That is where we are at right now. Hello everyone, I'm standing outside. That direction is east and that is west. These 2 points, as the scorpion is going to be rising, Anansi the giant Orion is going to be falling or dying in the west. These 2 points now in this time of the year, they've given us the mythologies such as the story of the mother goddess Gaia sending out a scorpion after Orion after he tried to kill all the beasts of the earth. The story says the scorpion stings Orion's heel. Same way the offspring of the woman in Revelation is said to be, its heel is stung by the serpent. The heel of Orion is the star Regal. Just before 8, you can actually see this drama playing out as the scorpion Delilah is rising in the east. Orion face down is setting, and you can spot Regal just above the horizon before he falls under. Another symbol that we have from Revelation from the scorpion is Revelation 9 verse 10. Where it says these beings that looked like locusts but had tails like scorpion. The verse says they're wearing iron breastplates rather. Iron, that's Mars. That's the metal affinity for Mars. Mars rules Scorpio. The metal affinity for Mars is iron. Insimbi. We are in the time sobubi. Insimbi, imbi. You hear that word? That's the word we use for iron. That is the time we're in. In the Babylonian mythology, it is said that the gates at the horizon, the gates where the sun rises and the gates where the sun sets, are guarded by scorpion men. The closest reference we have to this would probably be that movie by The Rock, Scorpion Kings. Then the verse goes on to say they were charging into battle like horses on chariots. That is wordplay or symbolism for the constellation Sagittarius, which is half horse and half man, wielding a bow and arrow, charging into battle. You're going to see that constellation shortly after Scorpion rising. Below the Scorpion, you will see the horseman on chariots, Sagittarius, the sergeant. Have you ever wondered what this means? Why would the Virgin Mary be portrayed as a vagina? Is this us saying now our ancestors used to worship vaginas and phalluses? Is that where we actually come from? Before I get there, let's talk about Ezekiel's vision first. Then I will get into what this imagery is actually saying. So now in Ezekiel chapter 1, we find Ezekiel describing the 4 living creatures. Grotesque looking things, but what are they? Are they angels? Are they demons? Are they aliens? They go forward. When they move in all directions. So what exactly are they? It's none of the above. These are mythologies. This is a symbol capturing the 4 cardinal points. The 4 cardinal points when the equinoxes were at the constellation Taurus and Scorpio, and the solstices were at Leo and Aquarius. These are the constellations characterized as the 4 living creatures. One has the face of a man, that's Aquarius. The face of a lion, that's Leo, on the right side. The face of an ox, that's Taurus, Diao, on the left. And then directly across from him, 180 degrees, we find the eagle, the face of an eagle, that's Scorpio. At some point in our history, these were the cardinal points, which are also represented as the angels standing at the 4 corners of the world. Again, in the ancient world, in the old world, this is the chambers of the south. In Genesis, when Abraham talks about the chambers in the south, they are referring to this point in Scorpio, which is quite fitting because the womb of our galaxy is actually located in these stars, between the stars of the Scorpion and Sagittarius. Our cosmic root chakra, look it up. Our cosmic root chakra is located among these stars. This is where our cosmos physically originates. In fact, stars are still being born there as we speak. Boom! A star has just been born. This is where the stars in our galaxy actually come from. This is where we come from. You know when you guys say you are stardust? Yes, that is the cosmic yoni that we actually come from. In our mythologies, the galactic center is regarded as the seat of Umakhulu, the old hag, Umansu, the Black Mother, the seat of Mother Kali, the creator and destroyer, the Mother Madonna or Manduna or Matuna. Matuna translating to the old mother or Manduna, Nduna meaning the old mother chief. D and T is interchangeable in these languages. The galactic center is the seat of the primordial black goddesses. You know, the chaos beings that they're always talking about, the black waters, the waters upon the face of the deep. That's that area there. Psalms 18:11 says, He has made darkness his secret dwelling. In Kemet philosophy, we're looking at, I think it's the dog. It's the dog, Chobeka or Sobeka, or Ampu, Impungushe, if I remember correctly. The dog that guards the entrances to the underworld. That's what we're actually talking about. The galactic core is symbolized as a scorpion goddess pulling the vulva, or pulling the vulva of a vagina while belting the agonizing cry of child labor, as energy bursts forth from the galactic core as light, which coalesces into matter, mother. See, in the old world, the autumnal equinoctial point, which is now in Libra, was once at Scorpio. The world quite literally began in the opposite constellation Taurus. That is why we have so many images or imagery of the bull. That is why Aaron makes a golden calf from a bull, or the Apus golden calf, because at some point the letter A, the start of the year, the start of the year was once at this point, and the end of the year was placed at the galactic core, where the yoni is, Imomozi, or Inkomozi, as we say in Zulu. And this is how we've actually inherited now the symbol of the yoni as a symbol of worship. As above, so below. As within, so without. That's what it's actually talking about. The dark primordial waters. Scorpio is ruled by, it's a water sign. I'm sure you've seen these face masks that are worn by our warriors here in Africa. Some of them, like this one. It actually looks like the face is coming out of the vagina. This is what this imagery means. It is not a literal thing where now our ancestors are saying the man or the woman's vagina is the place of origin for everything and everything. No. There is always the macro version of this. The micro, of course, being the physical representation in our women or in our mothers. Behold, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all power of the enemy. That's Luke 10 verse 19. If you look out this evening, after sunset, after 8 o'clock rather, you will see serpents that the verse is actually talking about, and that's the serpents. You will see the constellation of Eucus is actually wrestling with the serpent and overcomes it. You also see the scorpion that the verse is actually talking about. Now, for the northern hemisphere, the sun enters the scorpion on the October 23rd and remains in it until the 22nd of November. But for us now in the southern hemisphere, we're the opposite. We are currently in the season of Scorpio. For us in the south, the appearance of the scorpion in May announces the beginning of winter. Actually, for us in the south, May Day announces the start of winter. The old Dutch name for this constellation is called Slagman, meaning slaughterman or slaughterhouse, because it is the time when we slaughter, siyahlinza, and we salt our meat and get it ready for winter use. This is the time we biltong our meat and then shelf it so that we can use it through the harsh winter months. We are currently in the time of Abohlatshwayo. We are in Kwabulawayo, the time of the slaughter. Winter now symbolizes death, the time when the powers of the underworld reclaim the earth. We are currently in the underworld. That is why these mythologies, they insist that the gates to the underworld is guarded by scorpion men, the gates to the due art. In Egyptian mythology, Scorpio is represented by Anpu or Impungushe. That's another constellation that you can, if you look east tonight at 12, you will see that constellation as well, the fox. Scorpio is also regarded as the bird of bad omen, the harbinger of winter, the very gates of hell, like I just said, because the commencement of the 5 months of winter with its cold, disagreeable weather, it actually
the time when we put on fires to keep warm actually starts now. Hence, all the gods of winter are colored red in imitation of the red flames, and of course, like I highlighted before, the red setting sun. In Babumutu's book, Indaba My Children, we are at the time when the evil Zahareli, the personification of evil, the Capricorn goat, wages a war with the talking Kaula birds. The Kaula bird, that is the constellation Aquila. If you remove the A, you are left with Kuila or Kuala. The K and Q is interchangeable linguistically. And this is right next to Zahareli, the deformed one-eyed goat, the personification of evil in the midnight hour. If you look east this evening at midnight, you will see this drama playing out. In our mythologies, the scorpion goes by many names, among such as Beelzebub, or the Lord of Flies, the King of the Bottomless Pit, the Satan of the Hebrews, Hashatan, Set, the Persian Ezrael, the Angel of Death, the Angel Abaddon of Revelation. I want to get into diet and how to actually heal the scorpion area, which is the procreative organ. We said in the Lord's Prayer, it's lead us not into temptation, but forgive us our trespasses. And so the effects that we're seeing around us, it kind of dictates that we are in Scorpio, even though technically we are in Taurus, if you are looking at this from the northern hemisphere. And whatever is born or done at this moment of time has the quality of this moment of time. Meaning, if you are born in the southern hemisphere around this time of year, you will have those scorpion qualities. The next video I will talk about is Imbande and foods one can use to heal the Scorpio or the procreative organs. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, let's finish Scorpio. I'm coming to you in the hour of Saturn, Unomakama, the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Saturn day. I'm coming to you in the hour of the Lord Saturn. That's the planet Unomakama. Now, I was raised in a Christian family, and so my entry point into these fairy tales is always the Bible scripture. And please note that I actually said fairy tale because that's what these are. That is why we can syncretize these stories with other fairy tales from around the world, even the folklores zetu that we've been told growing up. And so I will start with Revelation 9. It reads, "And they had tails like scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men for 5 months." Those 5 months are the 5 winter months: April, May, June, July, and August. Now, we do suffer during these cold 5 months, but to say that we hurt is an exaggeration, is either an exaggeration or there is something more to it, of which there most likely is, and we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about how to heal the Scorpio area and how to furnish certain salts in that area. Now, Scorpio is the generator of the life force and sex principle, and Taurus, the opposite, Taurus, Inkomo Yezulu, is the brain power that controls Inkomozi, the lower, the reproductive organs. I'm going to use anatomy and physiology to explain actually what could this verse mean when it says we hurt. We do suffer cold, but to say hurt, that's something else. Now, numerically at Scorpio, we're looking at the number 8, Eta in the Greek alphabet. like in Zulu, like we would have in Zulu slang, ukudla, bajana, eta, eat. Adam eats from the tree in the center of the garden. Scorpio is the slagtehuis, the slaughterhouse, kwabulawayo, ila kudliwana khona, kwahlatshwayo. We're looking at the letter Chet in Hebrew, the letter H, the gate or fence into the underworld, the gate that is guarded by scorpion men, the Agra or Akra Buamelu, which, by the way, fit perfectly, quite perfectly, the description of Utigoloshe created by Zahareli in Baba Mutwa's book Indaba My Children. In the book, Baba Mutwa tells us that the evil Zahareli created a metal Tigoloshe. Yep, a metal Tigoloshe that branded a shiny metal tail with a sting full of poison. Izwa-ke inganekwane ithini. Izwa. Scorpio is ruled by the god of war, Mars, the lord of war in the Bible. Zahareli brings war to earth. To the first people, he wages war with the protectors of the earth, the Kaula bird, or like I explained in the previous video, the Aquila constellation. Then later goes on to war with the great spirit Ma and the actual tree of life itself, uNkulunkulu uhlanga lezizwe. The metal affinity for the planet Mars is iron, insimbi. Zahareli's monsters are created from iron, insimbi. In Revelation chapter 9, when they're talking about the locusts that also have stingers, in that fairy tale now, these monsters are clad in iron breastplates. Baba Mutwa again narrates, the monsters, just like the ones in the Bible, have grasshopper legs and dragonfly wings, very similar to the grasshoppers with stingers we find in the book of Revelation. Stop reading these texts literally. When you stop reading these texts, these stories literally, these symbols, they literally jump out of the pages. They jump out at you. They jump out at you. Assigned to Scorpio is the 8th division. Remember we said we had 8. We assigned the 8th division of the body, which is NYoNYaNe, the phallic area, the procreative organs. Let's go a bit deeper now. Also associated with procreation is the great ganglia at the base of the spine canal. This we call the sacral, and the coccygeal, which is located at the end of the spine. These again have to do with reproduction, ukudlana. They deal with the procreative glands. Furthermore, the largest nerve in the human body, the great sciatic, actually rises also from the sacral center. Among its many functions is sending important branches towards the knees and further down, and also to the sexual organs, the sexual glands. With the reproductive organs assigned to Scorpio and the feet Pisces, it becomes quite easy to conclude that this portion, or this lower portion of the body, has to do with the underworld, or relates to the 5 zodiacal signs of winter, or it relates to the 5 signs of the hurting when we are being stung by the cold. that is where we are. That is the beginning of the duat starts at Scorpio. Scorpio is the foundation or the fire principle that invigorates life in the body. Also feeding and sustaining the mind. If the sex organ, if the procreative organs and fluids thereof are not abused, it is the fire. The symbolism behind the word hurt reveals itself when it is finally realized that abuse or overuse of the procreative organs, too much this, it can actually result in impairment of bodily activities in the 5 parts of the body that I've just mentioned. 5/12 of the body is directly and constantly deteriorated as a result of overuse. The extremities, they become less and less active. The limbs become stiff and lame. The back bends. Dr. Washington Carey allocates the cell salt calcium sulfate or lime sulfate to Scorpio, which is also commonly known as plaster of Paris. The word Paris is derived from the Latin verb pareo, meaning to become visible, to appear, to bring forth, to lay as in laying eggs, which is quite fitting because eggshells contain calcium sulfate, which is an hydrite, meaning destitute of water. When we mix calcium sulfate with water, we form a plaster. You know, like a plaster like you have in a cast, water quickly evaporates, leaving a hard protective surface, kind of like the hard exoskeleton of a Scorpio or a crab. The ancients believed scorpions actually come from crabs. That is why the Cancer and the Scorpio symbolism is so close. Another name for this is gypsum. That's another name we use for calcium sulfate. The root word of gypsum now means to wander without a fixed purpose, to go around or gyrate in a circular motion. The word gypsy is also derived from the same root. Fittingly so, because gypsies are nomadic by nature. The word nomadic comes from the Latin word nom, meaning to distribute or allot, which is also fitting. A characteristic of the word of this word applies to the cell salt calcium sulfate. The slang phrase to gyp means to swindle or cheat a person. To gyppo, we readily see this, and that it is truly applicable to the sign of the Scorpion in a negative sense, because whoever abuses the procreative material, they are actually gypping themselves. They are robbing themselves of their most precious possession, the life fire, and are not aware of this. They steal their own force. They are like the prodigal son who eats odla is inheritance. Naturally, calcium sulfate is soft and easily scratchable, but it's quite resilient against acid. Ever stop to think, if the stomach has acid, then how come the stomach lining does not get digested? If there's acid, it's got to get digested. Well, it's because calcium sulfate coats all vascular surfaces, including the stomach lining. When this salt is deficient, the coating in the stomach it thins out and becomes easily abrased by irritants. In fact, all parts of the body that come into contact with moisture, water, your eyeballs, the nasal passages, the mouth, the throat, the bladder, the passageway into the stomach, they all have particles of the salt. It's very important. They all use it for protection. One of the modalities concerned with a lack of calcium sulfate is a burning sensation, even on the skin. The skin may also experience this feeling, a constant burning. Some people, they suffer from burning feet. When they sleep, the feet will be outside the blankets. If you suffer from this, take calcium sulfate generously. We also have ulcerations in the tummy are also caused by a deficiency of calcium sulfate, and the symptom can quickly be relieved and cured as soon as the salt is taken into the stomach. It's that quick. It doesn't need to go into the bloodstream for it to start working. Once it gets in, at once it starts reapplying that coat upon entry. As I highlighted earlier, calcium sulfate forms eggshells, and without it, the contents thereof would not be preserved to fulfill their function. Through this, we then understand the curious relationship which this calcium sulfate, has with the sign Scorpio. The procreative glands create and preserve the procreative cells. Now, these cells are like eggs. Differentiated corpuscles in need of shells to coat and protect them. Science calls these shells casts. These enable the contents to be preserved intact. Again, when calcium sulfate is insufficient to make these corpuscles or human eggshells, the contents thereof are unable to remain intact and turn into pus. Yes, the disintegration of organic substances in the corpuscles is the cause of pus, or one of the causes of pus. Among the 3 causes of barrenness in females is a lack of calcium sulfate. The ova, they cannot obtain enough calcium sulfate in order to complete the casts. And now pus is frequently found in the ovaries or in the ovarian tubes. And it's also not uncommon for males to suffer a collection of pus in the testes or the prostate. With this now, eventually fistulas will form as a result of nature's efforts to rid the system of pus, and they remain until all pus has been drained away and the salt is supplied. Suppuration will persist as long as the blood is not supplied with this salt. One of the 3 causes of anemia is a deficiency of this salt. A yellowish or pasty colored skin complexion is a clear indication there is a deficiency of this salt. To aid the body heal the hurt, you can try using lezimpande. Now, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, so I highly recommend when you do use lezimpande, either do it on the day belonging to Mars, which is Tuesday, and also try to use it in the hour that belongs to Mars. And of course, please consult a professional on how to measure and take lezimpande. Here they are. Now, the food type, we're looking at the deep green colors, as can be seen in this image. This is the image that was redone by Santos Bonacci. You can see that green area, the deep green. That's the area we are talking about. This lesson was based on the works of Dr. George Washington Carey. specifically the book called The Zodiac and Cell Salts of Salvation, the relation of the mineral cell salts of the body to the signs of the zodiac. You can also add these two books written by Mantak on how to work with the Scorpion energy, how to mold and preserve that Scorpion energy and bring it back up, or bring a 10th% tithe back up to the area where all glands come from. The first gland starts here, and then other glands are then created from that space. That's all I have for you today. Please do not read these allegories literally. You can't read these allegories literally and be able to do the syncretist work where the astrology of the story can be retold in our bodies and help us heal the body and the psyche. There's a lot of divisions into this thing. That's why I keep saying that the scriptures, doesn't matter which scripture, they all teach the 7 liberal sciences. Now, you cannot study those sciences in these scriptures while you are still reading literally, looking for literal Hebrew kings and queens. We cannot.